Welcome back to Tuned In with Radio Laurier. My name is Keegan Gingrich, and today we are speaking with Andy Colonico from Revive the Rose, a band based out of Welland, Ontario. Andy has been a constant innovator in the Ontario music scene for over 6 years, and has recently even created his own record label called Snare Guy Records. Today we talk about authenticity, appreciation, and being passionate about what you do every single day. All right, Andy, thanks so much for doing this. Nice to see you again. I know we talked a couple days ago, but nice to finally get an in-person, as much as you can consider it, that chat.
Likewise, man. Nice to chat.
Let's start off with a few rapid fire questions. So these are no pressure at all. First thing that comes to your mind, first answer. There's no right or wrong answer unless you get the first one wrong. Then we're going to have some problems, but we'll see. All right, you ready to go?
Yep.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Foo Fighters or Nirvana?
Foo Fighters.
Nice. Coffee versus tea?
Coffee.
Nice. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Burgers.
Nice. And the best beer in Canada?
Oh, geez. You know what? I don't even care. OV. What's up?
OV. Repping the hometown, eh?
Yeah. It's just chill. It's not bad. It's not terrible. Just in the middle.
It's kind of like a better Molson Canadian, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Oh, Molson's hit or miss for me, but yeah, I agree.
Depends on the day, right?
It is made by Molson, so.
Oh, I didn't know that, really?
Yep.
Oh, the more you know. This one's a little bit more hard-hitting, but if you can think of something, what's the best piece of advice that, like, it can be industry related, it can be, personally. What's like I guess your mantra, like words you live by? What's something that you like think about every day?
Wake up every day and don't be a dick. That's my advice.
It is kind of a good thing to live by.
Yeah, man. I live by, don't be a dick and work for what you want to do and what you love to do. I guess that would be the extended version of it.
Man, and you know all about that too. Like you guys have a song called 9 to 5, which kind of talks about, the day-to-day grind and all that. And then doing what you love too is a byproduct of that, right? How is that something that you're like, you kind of embrace?
Yeah, man. Like, it's just like, to me, there's no other like option. Like, why would I do something that I don't want to do? Like, why would I settle for less in life? My whole life is based off of like breaking the safety net. I've always just like admired, musicians and how hard they work. And it's like, why are we brought into an education system that kind of fears away from that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I even, I don't know, man. I can't settle for that. Like, I'm always a guy that's like, hold my beer. Like, I'll do it,
let me do the thing. Yeah.
And obviously it requires some sort of talent in this industry, but like, I wouldn't say I'm the best singer either though, but I just love doing it. And our chemistry just happens to work like as a band where it's like, it translates well to the people.
Yeah.
But
I think passion's everything. Like, especially with music, I think that's art in general. It's such a thing where you have to, if you're not passionate about it, like if you're just doing it for, I don't know, I won't say that a lot of people do like music or anything necessarily for the money, but like if you're not doing it for the right reasons, it kind of falls flat, doesn't it?
Dude, straight up, if you're doing it for the money, like stop. Just don't even do it. Like it takes a lot of hard work, man. You got to pay so many dues in the industry, man. Like there's a big queue line in front of you, man. And you kind of got to leapfrog past them, man, in order to like really get in the right spots. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Thankfully I went to business school and I learned how to like target market and shit like that, man. Like I really took that. I met a really good teacher there that helped me realize what assets I contain as a human being and structure that properly with what I love to do. And that made it work, and I don't even treat, like, I feel like a lot of people in the music business, man, they always like blame the music business. Like, oh, it's so difficult to like, move far in it. And it's like, nah, man, you're your own worst enemy. You got to just do it. Like, you gotta go hit them hard. That's what you gotta do. You can't give up on it. Like they don't give a shit. They got like, they got like Nickelback to deal with. They got like, you know what I mean?
Well, man, that's just it. Like, you're the person, or I think you're the perfect person to talk about it too. Because, like, even over the past year and a bit, like, obviously with RTI Revive the Rose, you guys have done so much, but you've also gone and like started your own record company, man. Like, that's insane. Snare Guy Records. Like, tell me about how that came about. Because I remember speaking to you when that was kind of still, like a work in progress. But like, what made you want to do that? What's the mantra behind that?
Dude, you know what? Thank you, by the way. But yeah, the main reason for Snare Guy, man, is because like, yeah, Revive the Rose was just breaking so many barriers in this music industry, like by
Yeah.
ourselves. Like, we didn't have no label support, man. Like, never had a booking agent. Like, it's like we have a manager now, but like, and that's really helped with like when it comes to like, the business side of things and helping me kind of game plan things that maybe I oversee, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but besides that, man, like we've done it all on our own, and no one's like, really helped me. Like, I've had help in the sense of like, yeah, you can play your local venue. Yeah, we'll throw you on this bill. You know what I mean? But like,
Sure.
besides that, man, when it came to like radio play, like playing out of town, opening for big bands out of town, you know what I mean? Like, every opportunity besides, playing your local venue, like we've done it all, and
Yeah.
no one's really helped me, man. Like, I've gotten lots of advice, thank God. Like later on, from other bands that have succeeded, such as like Crownlands, like Cleopatra, those guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
they let me phone call them once in a while, which is great. But other than that, man, like we're on our own. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent out there, man, that I've noticed that it makes me shiver to see like, damn, like they're only giving up because they just don't know what to do when it comes
Yeah.
to that side, and I do know what to do. I've worked my ass off to know that. And I'm not gonna, if I see a good band or a good artist, man, I'm not gonna let them stop just because they're clueless as to how to make a simple 12-month game plan, for
Right.
instance, and I'm going to help them do that, man. I'm going to help them figure out what circles they need to be a part of, and I'm going to help them figure out what's the best way to get themselves out there and how to keep the roots but also market that,
Yeah.
what I mean? There's no, and it's been great, man. Like, I've built such a great family around it, like of just talented and awesome down to earth people. Like, it's great, and I love just making shit happening and like seeing it all grow a community. If no
Yeah.
label's gonna sign me, I'm just gonna create my own community. I'm gonna create my own family, and we're gonna take the fuck over. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like, there's no other option.
Yeah. No, it's great too. Like when you're seeking it out and you're looking to find it, like there is so much out there. Like people talk all the time about, supporting your local music scene and all that. But sometimes it kind of feels like a little superficial almost, you know what I mean? Like it's like saying it for the sake of saying it. But
Yeah,
like when you're going out like yourself and actually doing it, like the one artist you have signed, is it Conan?
Conan Doyle.
I can't think of his, yeah, Doyle. There we go. And like he's amazing, but like that's kind of breaking a genre away from you too. Like you don't. The nice thing is that you don't really care about the genre part. It's just, hey, this is good music. I'm gonna put this artist out there.
Well, dude, thank you, man. Yeah, he's very talented. He's just straight up, dude. His lyrics are fantastic, and
Yeah,
he just says real shit, man. And like, I like, I love 90s like hip hop rap, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just what it is. Like, they spoke more real, and then it's like all of a sudden, like as the years went on, I feel like now they're just like slurring and mumbling stuff. And then all of a sudden I stumbled across an Instagram ad with Conan Doyle, and he just
yeah,
said
man.
like the most true shit in like 30 seconds. And I was like, dope, this is sweet. And like, great voice, great tone, great flow.
Yeah,
Um, dude, it's not even like the genre matters at that point. Like, if it just sounds good, man, it's good.
it sounds good. Yeah,
We're just gonna put it out there. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's huge. Like for you guys, and this is something that I think, like myself, you and Mike, and then Alex, obviously my lead singer, that
yeah,
we've talked about a bit is authenticity, right? Like not, and I think we had a long conversation about this one night. Like people go out there and they're very fake, and they try and use people like in the scene to get farther. But I mean, with you
yes.
guys, even with us, right? Like we've seen a lot that you guys are more than willing to just help for the sake of like helping and being good people,
Well,
right?
thanks,
And
man.
it's no, but it goes a long way. Sorry, I lost my voice. It goes a long way though, right? And so, like, what does authenticity mean to you, especially in music? Like,
Like, yeah, man. Like, I just like, you know, like there's no point. Like obviously there's like a friendly competition, but that's with everything
Yeah,
in life. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
even people that work at sales firms, you know, they're gonna try to one up each other. It's all in good fun though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or you can be a dick about it, and then that just doesn't do you any good at all. But you know, we're all trying to do our best. You know, and the best we can do, you know, instead of shutting each other down, the best is just simply going like, "Hey, man, you could probably do this a little better." You know what I mean? And like, "Hey, maybe take a little more time next time and then put a good product out." You know what I mean? Like just simple shit like that, man. There's no reason to be like, like screw these guys. Like you guys are shit. Like there's no reason to be like that. Like you
yeah,
want to, even if you know if you're not a fan of like something they do, just kind of speak your voice, and they take it how they do it. And I use uh, you know, constructive criticism and feedback as fuel, man. And I appreciate it, and it helps me grow my perspective a little more. And that's how I evolve RTR every time to
yeah.
a
And I mean,
sponge.
good karma too, right? Like if you're going out and doing that stuff for other people, like who's to know the next time that you're going out looking for advice that someone might give it right back to you, right? So
Yeah,
I
dude.
imagine that's
And
something you think about.
the big thing I learned in this business, man, is that you don't really exactly treat it like business. Like, you know, if I'm good at making a lot of friends, I'm just gonna treat my networks that way. I'm gonna make a lot of friends. I love meeting new people. Like I get stoked just to like meet people like you guys. Like I just love the fact that like I can call you guys friends. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
we just happen to play music, but like I don't know, man. Like I I don't really view it as you know, business. I just view it as like, they're dope, you know. And I'm very thankful that the music community has made me have a great life. Like, you know, like I have all these awesome people surrounding my life, and like I wouldn't have known them if I just didn't play music.
right. Actually, funny enough, right behind me, it's hidden behind my lamp here, but I'm just gonna pull it out. I got the Sedge Honesty, Revive the
Oh,
Rose, Baby Labor, and No Service show we played at Harmony
Harmony.
Lunch when it was still open, because obviously now being closed. But like and it's little things like that where we were like, oh, like these guys are huge. I remember we were just sitting in the basement like practicing the one day. We're like, these guys are from Welland. They just did this thing, and they like with the Ice Dogs. They did. I think you had just done the music video.
Yeah.
I think it was for Bar Down, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and like we were just like off our ass, like so excited, like we're just like, this is the coolest thing ever. And you guys rolled in with like your big amps and everything, and we're all just
Oh
like, this
yeah.
is insane. But like it's such small little things that like for some people what might not even mean like a big deal. We're just a bunch of kids. We're just like, like going on. But and so that kind of leads me to like a little bit of backtracking almost. Like take me through the history of what RTR is, because you guys have a like 6-7 year history now, something like that, right?
You know what? Yeah, 2014, 6 years, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, it's been through a lot. It feels like a new band every year, though, man. Like, I love it. Like, it always just evolves in the best way possible. But I'd say, like, 3 years ago was like the official new Revive the Rose. But, like, obviously, man, like, we started in 2014. We had no idea what we were doing, man. We were just like having fun, playing whatever we could get. You know what I mean? And, like, we were just, you know, I met Pete in high school, but we never really like hung out a lot.
Right.
Like then we jammed once in high school, and then I waited a year because I was in a band before that called Cops on Commission, so I was like really like full tilt on that, but just never seemed to really work how I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Then our guitar player left to go to animation school, and he was actually highly successful. He ended up doing stuff for like Captain Underpants, Nickelodeon,
No
Disney, like a bunch
way.
of shit. Anyway, so that band ended, and I had these other songs I started making that weren't really punk rock, like well, what I thought was punk rock at the
Yeah.
time, but yeah. And then so I invited Pete and my old bass player Steve to come over again, and we jammed these new songs. And at that time, I was attending Mohawk College for music
Okay.
school, and that's where I
Nice.
met Matt.
Okay.
And
Nice.
turns out he was from Niagara too. So, and I told him, well, we were kind of looking for like a lead guitar player. They ended up both being lead guitar players, and
Yeah.
so he came and jammed, and he joined, and then we just kept the brotherhood strong. We always hang out, like, you know, we're always jamming, like, and one thing led to another, man. I always like had faith in good bands, such as like the Glorious Sons. Like they first won Rock Search like
They're
a year
amazing.
before
Yeah.
that. And so they were doing their first big tour, the White Noise tour, and that was like our second show. We opened up for the Glorious Sons.
That's insane.
And like just little shit like that, man. We just kept resume building. Before you know, we opened for Danko Jones, and then like just man, it's very important to realize like what you've done and how to evolve from it. And even like
Yeah,
the Ice Dogs, cool. That was huge at the time.
that was awesome. Yeah,
That broke us very locally. But then I'm like, let's do it better now. And then we got the Leafs to play us.
yeah. And then, well, the Leafs they're on their warm up playlist now, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, as of right now, I'm not too sure. Like we were though for like a year. So
It's crazy.
and then we were playing at every home game. So it was huge, man. And now yeah, we've actually, evolved beyond that, but I can't really say much about that, but
Yeah.
I will leave it at that. But yeah, like just going to say, you take an opportunity, man, you look at it, you do it, and then you go like, how can I do it better than that? And then just for your own goals, man. You know what I mean? And that's how art fair kind of just evolved over the years, man. We just kind of like always said like, oh, these songs aren't good. Like they're good, but they're not good enough. Let's make them better. You know what I mean?
And on that note, man, you guys have played with some like amazingly like famous people. I think I was like, you just mentioned the Glorious Sons and Danko Jones, like live in Bush. I think last summer you guys played with them. Like Honeymoon Suite, all these names that like every time I see something appear, I'm like, these guys are just like killing it, right? What's that like, man? Like you're literally playing shows with people who like you grew up on this music. And now you're out there playing shows with them. Like it's, just the craziest thing ever. What's that like?
Dude, it's trips, man. Like, and you know what? When you meet them, man, they're just dudes too. Like they just made it, you know what I mean? But they all started from the same place and the same heart, you know what I mean? And it's really cool to see that. But like, it's just mind blowing that I like someone I've rocked on my like, music library for years and like was heavily inspired by. And now all of a sudden I get to like play with them. And most recently, like working with John Angus from the Trews on our new material. That was nuts. Like, dude, I look up to the Trews, man. Like they're like, if it's not the Foo Fighters, it's that band. That's my favorite band. And now we're all like best friends with that band. Like I text them, like it's just chill shit. Like, and even what was really cool was like, we had on the last day of studio, we were mixing everything, and the Trews just had band practice in Hamilton. And so John Angus came by after with Colin from the Trews, the singer, and Jack, the bass player, and they just sat there and like listened to like what we've done. And like Colin just like turned around, he's like, who's singing this? And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I'm singing this. And he's like, dude, you sound freaking awesome, man. And he's like, you guys should be proud of this shit. And like, just hearing that, man, because Colin's a huge vocal inspiration for me, man. So like, the fact that like he said that to me, like I didn't even know how to process. Like my brain flew out of my asshole. Like I didn't know what to say. Like it was amazing. And we're just like homies now. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's one thing to meet your heroes. It's another thing for them to be like, hey, your stuff's good, and you just out of body moment, right?
Yeah, dude. I never in my life would have thought like my first Trews concert was 2011. Yeah, so 9 years later I'd be getting my tunes produced by them. Like crazy.
It's crazy how the world works, man. Sometimes you just like you got to take a step back and go, whoa.
Yeah, right? Man. And then like Honeymoon Suite even. Yeah, we played with them once and then we got offered like 3 other shows with them after, like just over the course of time. It's like just became super like chillant, but it's like, yo, these guys are a big band. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you sit back like that, you're like, yo, this is nuts.
they've actually done some crazy stuff, right? And it's just insane. It's just insane. And like, so with that, like, take me back to, I think this is the funniest thing in the world that this is your first EP's title. And it's always just made me laugh so much. Your first EP was called Potato. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest thing ever. Like some of the songs on there are great. And you guys have actually redone, I think two of them since then, Gold Digger and Welland's Finest.
Yeah. We redid those 2. And I don't even know why we did, but we did.
Yeah. What was it like doing that? And also I'd like to know about Potato. Like what how did that name come into play?
Yeah, like we we always refer, like, at that time, we were going through a lot of like our own independence, like of adulting. Like, I was living in college, same with Matt, and Potato just really described the era at the time, and because like our friend group, like had absolutely no freaking idea like what the hell was going on. No one knew. Like, I was working Pizza Hut in college, and
Yeah.
they had music school. Like, what the fuck am I doing with that? Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And then like, I had a bunch of other buddies working like just shitty part-time jobs, and like, somewhere in 12B, grade 12B. And like, and then we turned 19, we're just hitting the bars. Like, no one knew what was really going on. Like, um, we would meet like a lot of people. Like, I remember I met this dude that blew all his OSAP on like drugs, like
Yeah.
crazy shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and they just become stupid and like potatoes, like lazy. Like, no one knew. Like, it was just like, instead of calling something null, we would just be like, oh, like they're just burnt like a potato. Like, there's, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and it just described that era, like the early fan base of RTR. We would just play these awesome shows and come party, and like,
Yeah.
it just made sense, man, to call it potato. Like, it, and at the time, it's so youthful looking back. But like, when I look at, like, I got it on my wall there, but
Yeah.
when I look back, man, like, I'm so glad we named it that, man, because that just describes that era so well.
Yeah.
It
It's
means
just
a lot to
fun.
me. It was a huge transition of my life.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, that's awesome, man. And like ultimately, like you want, it's a youthful little album. You guys just going out and doing your thing. And like you said, it's almost like a kind of like a coming of age type thing. Like, hey, we've finally hit this point. Let's just go have some fun with it, right? Also, I love the watermelon mug.
oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, it was for me and my girlfriend. We were sipping on Malibu and Sunny D. So when we went camping, but it also, man, it's just such a massive water bottle. Like,
right?
it's great. I never have to refill it.
That's amazing. I just bought like a 2-liter one for work every day, and
Unreal.
that in itself is just crazy. I'm walking around with like a jug of water, just sipping it like it's nothing, and I'm getting some looks, and I'm like, well, it is what it is.
Water's the best, man.
Yeah, of course. So, Bad Blood, that song, dude, like that is one of the greatest intros I've ever heard in my life, and I've said it before, and like I'll say it again. Like, it really is just a really good tune, and just that riff is amazing. That song like took off for you guys, like even on Spotify, you've got like 150,000, I think, listens on that song alone. To like walk me through that song and kind of the response you got for it.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. Yeah, it's so it's funny. That's a Cops on Commission song from grade. I wrote that in grade 12. That song.
Wow.
With,
Okay.
our old bass player Jake, who was in Cops on Commission with me. We wrote that song together, and
Wow.
we put it out. Like, there's a demo of it on YouTube if you look it up. Bad Blood by Cops on Commission. It's on there.
Wow. Okay.
But it just never really, like, when we put it out, the band ended, and I remember, I found Pete and Matt going back to it and jamming it, and they're like, "Dude, this is such a good song." I'm like, "Well, I mean, why don't we just do it? Like, it's my song still, like, you know what I mean?" So
Yeah.
we just re-recorded it and did it a little more zestier, and then before you knew it, it was like the best Revive the Rose song ever to happen, like, so far statistically. Europe loved it, man. Like, Germany was just eating the fuck out of it. I don't know what happened there. And then it was crazy, man. Like, we got added into like this huge Spotify playlist that had like 222,000 followers, and then like it did so well off that one that they added it into like an even bigger one after that. Like, and it was just crazy, man. Like, it really opened us up. Like, we got fans from like Dubai and shit. Like, it was weird, man.
Yeah, and after that, you guys played on like CT. Was it CTV or was it CBC in the morning? Global. Okay. What's that like, man? Getting like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go on this performance in the like on the morning news. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts, dude. And we've been there twice now. They're so nice to us there at Global News, and it's a big honor, man. Like, it's a big station, and just felt great to be in. The only reason why I want to be up that early, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
sound check at 7 a.m. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, not a usual thing, eh?
No, but oh man, it's just a fun adventure, man. And that's actually a perfect example of, like, you got to go out there and just get it. I showed up because Moxie got added to 102.1 The Edge from Alan Cross one time.
Right.
I happened to be in Toronto when that happened. It was my first time. I left Welland to go network in Toronto because I just needed answers. I just felt like I needed to meet the right people, and I did. It was like the best week of my life. And so during that week, I stayed with my brother, and Alan Cross just adds Moxie in when it dropped, and and then he made us like his number one pick. So I said, screw it. I'm in Toronto. The fire's as hot as it could possibly be right now. I'm just gonna show up. So I just showed up to this giant Course Entertainment building that's like bigger than, it's like 20 of my houses that size, all glass building. And I just showed up, and I looked at their sign. They do like Teletoon Global, like all that shit. And I talked to the front desk lady, and I said, I need to speak to someone from 102.1 The Edge. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because my band just got added to it, so I need to talk to someone. I need to thank someone. And then I asked for Alan Cross, and she's like, oh, Alan's not in the office. So she's like, well, the program director's here. And I'm like, oh, great. Time. Program director comes down. While I'm waiting for her, turns out the secretary lived in Welland, so we bonded. So she was stoked. Like small world. And so then the program director comes down. She's the nicest soul ever. Her name was Jalissa. And she's like, yeah, you want like a tour of the building? So I'm like, yeah, I want a tour of the building. So she gave me a whole damn tour of the Chorus Entertainment office. And there's like a slide you can go down in there. There's like a big slide from the second floor to the first floor. And she even let me go down that. Like it was like a dope experience.
Well, I know where I want to work now. That's good.
Yeah. And so I asked her, and I'm like, speaking of global news, I've been seeing like they do bands on there. I'm like, can you help me out? And she's like, yeah, I know the guy that books for that. So she networked me with him, and that's how we did that.
And there it was.
What would have happened if I just said, hey, I'm just going to show up to Course Entertainment?
But it's all about taking the initiative, right? Like seeking the things out. That's where you're going to find the opportunities, like you were saying before. Like things don't just come to you, right? Like sometimes they do once you've put the work in, but you just have to do things, right?
Dude, I even showed up with like a PDF booklet, like 12 pages, like little cue card sized, of like Revive the Rose's 2018 game plan. And I showed her, I'm like, this is what we want to do. Like, we need help. And she's like, oh, wow, this is dope. And then she's like, yeah, I'm super impressed. And then
things just happened. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I think Alan Cross said it was really solid meat and potatoes rock. This is what an indie band can do. Like that's a pretty high compliment from someone of that caliber, especially in Canadian music. Like that's a lot, man.
Yeah, man, I know, dude. I didn't like, even when he discovered Moxie, the first thing he says, he's like, he writes a review on our Facebook page. He's like, that's it. I have to put them on the radio. And I woke up.
No way.
That's how I found out. I woke up to that.
That's not a bad way to wake up, I'd say. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and so, man, huge compliment. Me and Alan are pretty good friends now too. So I've been meaning to do coffee with him, but yeah, definitely not happening anytime soon. So
no. Well, man, that's a good segue. Like, what has creating been like for you? I think that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to start this up and be having these conversations with people, is because like things have changed a lot. Not being able to go out and play all these shows and trying to figure out how to create in a more restrained way. What's that been like for you? Like what's RTR up to? What are you up to personally? I know you're doing a lot of solo stuff too. So like, tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not like focusing on solo stuff. I am writing, just writing, like, as a,
yeah.
I don't label what it is. I just like, I've learned to stop doing that, because if it's a good song, it's a good song, and it'll just go where it needs to go. So yeah, I've been writing a lot, and so is me and the band. We've been writing a lot. Me, Pete, and Matt especially. We've got about 45 demos now. I think maybe 46.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been working hard since last year, right up until now. The train hasn't stopped. But during COVID, I've been actually very busy with my my streaming show, Sunday Streams with Andy C. And that's kind of been my way to stay in tune with my friends and new friends that I meet in the music industry, just to see how they're doing, and it just keeps the networks fresh. And I just love talking to new people and people that are homies of mine. Like, what a better way to do your Sunday.
And you've had some pretty fun people on there too. Like, I mean, the very last one that you did, I don't know if it was considered a Sunday stream or not, but you had your doppelganger from the United States that you found on Instagram or something. And tell me about that, because that's wild. That's just awesome.
Yeah, dude, Jack, he's a good dude, man. We made a special episode just to do that on Wednesday, I think it was. No, Thursday. No, man, yeah, Jake found him. I don't know how. And then he's like, yo, this guy looks like you. And I thought that was it was hilarious. And I just said, that's funny. And so I just DM'd the dude and I said, hey man, like, I think we're like twins, like doppelgangers. And then he started laughing his ass off. He's like, dude, we totally are. And and right away I see this guy's posting bass guitars and stuff. I'm like, no way. I'm like, no way, you're a musician too. You bearded bastard. And like, yeah, it was just crazy, man. And we just always kind of commented on each other's stuff all the time, and like we would just hit each other up once in a while, like, like, what's shaking, like. And then finally I'm like, I've never talked to this dude. It'd be kind of nice to get to know him, you know what I mean? Like, and so I hit him up. I said, dude, why don't we just have a podcast, the Doppelganger Special? And he's like, dude, let's do it. And that's how we first kind of met, was doing that podcast. It was dope.
Yeah. And even on that same podcast, you even had a buddy from the Red Wings. I saw a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was the Red Wings, correct? That
you
brought on. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he lived with Matt in my band for a very long time when he was an Ice Dog.
Oh, they were a billet. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So he would listen to all our band practices growing up, and he would just be playing Chell in the basement and stuff. And before he knew it, he was playing for the Blackhawks, and Bar Down got added to the Leafs game for the first time, and it was against the Blackhawks, and he actually scored, and then they played the song. Like, it was nuts. Like, it was
no way.
Our worlds just met. It was so weird. Yeah, it was awesome though. But yeah, he's close to us, Perlini, in that sense. So, and yeah, he's just a great guy, man. Like, that's how that kind of fruition though. He was a billet boy.
It's crazy how things just come together, eh? Like the connections you make, and you never know where it's going to lead you.
I know, man. Yeah, it's insane. And yeah, we just we never really get to talk a lot, me and him. So we finally just that's what I mean. This whole stream show has been so great, man. Like, it's you just get to catch up with people and just appreciate everything. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we talked a little bit last week too, but I mean, you have what else are people doing on Sundays? Like, granted, spending time with family and everything, but having one of your favorite bands go out and be like, hey, we're gonna chat to people for an hour, just come in, tune in, who knows what the conversation is gonna bring, and just having that form of connection with fans and people all over is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, I'm really stoked, dude. It's coming. It's unfortunately it's coming to an end though. I only got 2 more episodes left, but it's just because the times are changing now. You know what I mean? And I will probably come back with a new show to some degree, but not that way though. That form of it is done now, I think. So, and I'd like to say I did pretty good considering that there's probably 16 total episodes.
Yeah,
but 16 times 3, I've had about 48 guests come on the show.
It's wild.
So yeah, not bad.
Yeah, but I mean, and the fun thing about it is there's no pressure.
No.
Right? You're just going on and just having a good time, and that's it.
And it was kind of nice in the sense that a lot of bands had plans, and they were putting out new stuff, and I was like, RTR's got a good, decent following brewing, you know what I mean? And a band like Alien Ant Farm, they're from California, you know what I mean? It's hey boys, let's get you some Canadian PR, with good fans that give a shit. You know what I mean? Yo, let's talk about your new song you just put out. You know what I mean? Or Wheatus, they're about to do the Teenage Dirtbag 20th anniversary tour. Everyone knows that crazy song.
Yeah.
How about we just remind people that Wheatus is fucking doing some big shit this year? They had plans. They're gonna drop this 20th anniversary album. It's good for these people, man. I'm proud I can be stoked about it and get it to new ears. or even familiar ears that just like kind of like, oh, that band I forgot, and it's like,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
awesome.
because I mean, bands like Weedus and Alien Ant Farm, like they're bands that I've grown up on too, and like hearing that, you're connecting with these people, you're just like, wow, it really is a small world. I know it's been like a consistent that I've talked about a lot, but like you really just don't know who's gonna know who and what connections you're gonna make doing this sort of thing, right? So
Yeah, no, seriously, man. I couldn't. I didn't even think they'd agree to like come on, and like I just took a shot in the dark, man. Like
yeah,
all you can do in this life, man, is the worst case. Someone says no, and you carry on with your day.
yeah, and that's just it. Like on the note of those guys, let's talk about inspiration, man. Like Foo Fighters, I know are a biggie for you. You're talking about the Trees before too. How much does that factor into like what you guys do as a band?
Like, what do you mean by that?
In terms of like their musical style, like what when you think back when you were growing up, like for me, I remember I heard Linkin Park's Minutes to Midnight 2007, and I was like, that's a sick album, that is some great songs. And so like when I'm thinking about music today, like even if it's like us just messing around and jamming, I'm like, that's what I want to sound like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
how has that impacted you, and how has that like shaped RTR?
Well, you know what, man? Having like such strong influences like that really helps me think about like times where like I would need that song. You know what I mean? Like, like a song like "Best of You" by Foo Fighters or something, or "Walk."
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
I remember, where I was when those songs were first heard from my ears. And I remember when I would play those songs. You know what I mean? And like I try to kind of channel that into like where do I want to be when I hear this RTR song? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does this song mean to me as an artist? And like, I don't know if you saw, I recorded a song called Bedridden, and I put like a live video up for it. And it's probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written, like ever in life. And
hmm,
I just, I really just was able to connect the emotion to that song. And like, I'm really stoked that because I do know a lot of people that do suffer from depression and shit like that, man. I wrote the song about people that are just glued to their rooms, like their
right.
beds. They won't leave. You know what I mean? But and I'm always the guy that's like, willing to be there for someone, if you need to talk to. And I'm glad I was able to kind of like emphasize that in a song.
Yeah, man.
I think people needed to hear that. And it really shows when I posted the song, people were like, damn, like that hit hard, man. And I just
Yeah.
remember I just thought about all the inspirations, like when I would listen to those songs, and it helped me channel. That's how that helps me a lot, and the boys too. Or
Yeah.
even, man, even a riff sometimes. You just like a riff reminds you of a time in your life. You know what I mean? And it's like cool.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, like I can't like Bad Blood, like I think that's a good example of that too. I know I keep touching back on it, but like when I hear that opening riff, I'm just kind of like a little bit sad, but I'm like, no, that's like it brings out a certain emotion. And like I think a lot of times when artists are writing these songs, like you guys as well, you have a sort of emotion that's going in there, and people really feel that. Like it's not, you know, no aim, like no pointless. You're really feeling that.
yeah, it's kind of like why I really like to write negative lyrics with positive riffage, because it's like so many negative situations are such jokes, like, you know, stuck in crazy. Like when you look back, you're like, how the hell did I just like deal with that? And
Yeah.
like you just put this jokes like upbeat riff to it. It's like it just describes like, you know, just feeling like a loser coming out of that. Like, oh man, like I had this crazy like person in my life. What a freaking idiot I am. How did I let
You just
that?
feel like you played yourself, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so like
Yeah.
it's stuck in crazy is all like summer vibes and show. It's like it's just like a
Yeah.
shit happens feel when you hear that, man. It's
Yeah.
like you're stoked that you're out of it.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? Like I think, and from a lot of talking to you too, like you guys just kind of really take things as they are, and it's not like while you guys take yourselves seriously business wise, I think you like to have fun and you like to really just put in the
Oh
passion, and I
boy.
think that's man, and that's but 90% of music has to be having fun and passion, or else it just feels empty. You know what I mean?
Dude, you can't be a prima donna, man. You just gotta have fun. Like, like there's no secret to music, man. You just gotta really enjoy doing it. Like that's it. the best way to be a musician is just to have fun with it.
Yeah. Is that like, would you say that's what makes like Revive the Rose the band that it is, especially in 2020, like with all this going on, like we got COVID, we got so much negative happening in the world. Like how much does it mean to you to go out and just like have fun? Like you guys finally got to play a live show. Was it yesterday or the day before at the Absinthe?
Yesterday, man.
And how was that? Like how good did that feel to just be like, oh, positive things happening? Like this is so much fun.
Yeah, man. No, it felt really damn good to play again, man. Although it wasn't the ideal stage, like I wish we could bring the amps and shit, like, and I wish I could like high five fans or like throw a beer at their face, like, it was fun, man. And like, it was just great to see people again, and just, yeah, it just kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel, man. Like it just felt really good. I'm glad we can bring that happiness to people that really lack that live music presence they really needed, And yeah, at the end of the day, me, Pete, and Matt, and boys, we're all best friends, man. So it's like we just have fun just existing with each other, man. Like so it just translates when we play on stage, man. Like there's no forced energy up there. It's just fun.
Yeah. What would you, I think that's a good note for me to ask when like my final point here. And that's like, what do you say to artists and creators and even young people? Like, I mean, we're not that much difference in age, but at the same time, like, what do you have to say to those people who are just like, sometimes like you're saying, bedridden, like it just, you're not really sure how you're going to go about things. Like we live in a kind of scary world sometimes. Right. And especially right now, like what advice do you give?
Man, I just honestly, man, just you gotta keep positive. You gotta just like really appreciate the small things in life, what you have around you, man, and all the great people you have in your life, and the people who've always been there and out of their way for you. Like you just gotta really realize that they're there, and that they do appreciate you, and you should appreciate them. And I think it's just good to keep your community like that together in a hard time like this. Like, whether it's a phone call a day, just call your buddy, how you doing, man? Like I called my best friend Ronaldo pretty much every day, man. I just love the guy, he's got always got some jokes to say, man. Just keeps your brain fresh,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Nothing wrong with a good phone call. Although for some reason people in 2020 and 2019 are like super not down for phone calls, and but anyway, I think that's complete bullshit if you're not down for a phone call. But whatever. Better than looking at a screen all day, man. Best to put the phone down too as much as you can. That's another advice I have.
Yeah, man. We feel like you got to disconnect a little bit.
We lived a life without it before, man. I don't get why people so need it so much. Who cares? See, but the problem is, man, people care about opinions too much, and that's part of the screw it. I don't know if I can swear, even though I have already.
Yeah, it's okay. We're a little past that. It's all good, man.
It's part of the attitude behind RTR, though, man. We don't care. We just do things that we find fun, and we write what we want to write about. We don't overthink what we write about. We just have fun, and you just kind of, I don't know, man. You just kind of, I don't even know where I was going with that, but.
No,
yeah,
it makes sense.
You cannot give too much of a shit. Like you just gotta love doing what you want to do, and the right people gravitate that way too. Like I have a sweet circle of people just because, we're all vibing the same shit. If you don't, then I probably don't talk to you. So just don't talk to me. It's like don't listen to me if you don't agree with it. Like I don't care. Like my focus is for the people that like just are down to enjoy life and treat each other with respect and love and have fun doing what they love to do. So,
no, man, I love that. I think that's great. Like I kind of taking it full circle back to the beginning, being authentic, being who you are, and I think that's some good tips for life, man. It doesn't matter who you are, but a prophet in our time.
I'm not a doctor, but like try it out.
Hey man, you never know. But no, Andy, man, I really appreciate it. Obviously it's good to talk to you and to hear from you.
Likewise, dude.
You've been a great advisor for us, for our band, and it's always good to chat with you. You're very hard.
I love you boys, man. That's always, man. It's a pleasure always.
Where can everybody check you out?
yo, if they have time to type out at Revive the Rose, you can pretty much find us anywhere. Or Revive the Rose, because like you can't do that on Spotify. You can't throw the at symbol in there. So
yeah, it's weird that you can't do that.
No, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah, what's coming up for RTR, man? Anything or whatever you can talk about. Let me rephrase it to that.
We have a new music video coming out for our cover song. Always something there to remind me that you can look forward to that at some point. We'll drop a funny little trailer at some point too. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We'll put some dank video content out there for that.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. Well, thanks so much for doing this again. And hopefully we can chat sometime soon.
Yeah, man. Sounds like a plan, dude. Hopefully I get to see you soon, man.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks again, man.
Peace, brother.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Tuned In. Check us out on social media at Radio Laurier, where you can find all the latest updates from our continually growing selection of content. Know someone who would be interested in coming on one of our shows? Find all of our contact information on our website, radiolaurier.com. I'm Keegan Gingrich. See you next time.